Hello and welcome to what I'd like to call the Hitchhiker's Guide to Solus, where we'll be taking a look at the universe and lore of Battleborn. While the game does feature a campaign, much of the lore is tucked away elsewhere, through external resources and character lore challenges. So today, I want to dive in and display the information in a readily available and informative format. Today, we're talking about the Rogues. Solus is a solar system controlled by a series of powerful governments and empires. It only makes sense that there would be a group opposed to such regimes, and that's where the Rogues come in. Inhabiting the detritus rings surrounding Solus, they stand out for their unique faction structure. Unlike any of the others, they lack any sort of real government or traditional organization, rather rallying around the message of Raina. She vets and recruits her own personal group of rogues, forming the ranks of the Battleborn of the faction. Now, before jumping into the rogues' characters, we have to talk about the detritus ring. You'll never find a more wretched hive of scum and villainy. Made up of meteors, abandoned mining colonies, long-lost ships, and quote-unquote reclaimed equipment, the rogues' home base isn't the most comfortable. With such a small living space for so many people, the people of Solus needed a place to dump their shit, basically. The population of the detritus ring is quite diverse, including humans, aviants, failed clones, Lorians, and Veramorphs, to name a few. As for actual locations in the detritus ring, 3 stand out: Chunk Braxton 3, Fortune's Favor, and Chunk Sanford 4. Chunk Braxton 3 is a still-running LLC mining colony. It's sizable enough for some more powerful rogues to frequent undiscovered for all sorts of criminal endeavors. However, it's not without its problems, namely volatile energy beings called Guiota, who we'll talk about in a bit. The Fortune's Favor is a stolen UPR dreadnought, now the home base of Raina. When it's needed, the giant retrofitted capital ship will also serve as the head of a makeshift rogue fleet. And lastly, there's Chunk Sanford 4. Settled by the multi-armed orange Lorians, it's notable for being home to the bar, the Happy Lorian. This bar doubles as a black market, offering anything from all sorts of colors of paint, to high-grades military explosive maintenance, to killers for hire. Speaking of which, Pendel Lacana, colloquially Pendels, has made a living doing the exact opposite as the others of his kind. The Roa, known for their snake-like appearance, hail from the ocean planet Akapos. They're a peaceful race, developing limbs at a young age to enable them to explore the universe and experience all sorts of cultures before losing their limbs and returning to the peaceful waters of Akapos once again. Pendels, however, found his calling thanks to Benedict. The aviant was drowning his sorrows after the darkening of Menec B on some shady backwater planet. Making a side comment about how he wished his Cormiri aviant commander would die and how he'd buy around for whoever did it, the aviant noticed Pendels leaving. When he returned, he had lost his left eye and gained a slight limp. He attempted to give Benedict his aviant commander's skull, but Pendels mistook the bird's refusal as the rewarding of a trophy. With his first kill, a bare-tentacled one, of a veteran military leader, it only made sense that with the right equipment, he could make an easy career out of murder. Still maintaining his friendly and polite demeanor, he started up Executive Assassinations, his own personal killing company. He prides himself on customer service and satisfaction, and he easily gained a reputation for being a deadly fucking snake person. With his 2 commas, 1 modified UPR climbing axe, and 1 Komiri aviant skull and bone weapon, he became a mostly unstoppable force. That is, until he started getting older. Getting into contact with the only other survivor of Akapos, Alani, he questions the details of his people and how to stop shedding scales, and more importantly, limbs. It was thanks to Alani, despite him pranking her about how pants were supposed to be worn, that he was able to halt the process through hormone therapy, and she was even able to graft a prosthetic arm after his fell off. He has the loosest ties to the rogues. He was hired long time on the suggestion of Toby to make sure no one else hired him first and put their faction at risk. Easily the most important of the rogues is Raina, the Valkyrie Valeria. Very much the voice of the rogues, she preaches and lives by the message of helping the tired and trampled upon. She frequently ventures out from the detritus ring on all sorts of ventures, from helping out a pinned-down scavenger to stealing UPR supply ships. Equipped with a modified UPR Commander plasma pistol and a shield-stripping/building command glove, she takes what she wants with ease. She's responsible for the recruitment of each of the rogues Battleborn. She rescued the abandoned Shayne, helped break Arendi out of LLC imprisonment, scouted Toby, gave Whiskey Foxtrot a place to live, and paid Pendels to not murder all of them. She also has a very special relationship with Galt. Despite Galt being in charge of stopping her thefts, she seems to greatly enjoy flirting with him, suggesting the use of handcuffs and fuzzy pink blankets, and raising the possibility of being okay with him messing up her hair. Just as cute as the aforementioned fuzzy pink blankets is Toby. A Feniski aviant from the now darkened Medic B, Toby has struggled a little bit with being recognized for his skills. Due to his small stature and cute penguin appearance, despite being 26, he is often dismissed as a cute or young. He is an excellent engineer and fighter, but was patronized and rejected by the UPR recruiters after his star was darkened, though other avians like Benedict and Ernest were accepted. With a genius-level intellect, he modified an old mining exosuit into his self-styled mech Berg. Utilizing parts obtained by the Lorian scrap dealer, Oxo Lore, he weaponized and equipped it with all sorts of instruments of death, a railgun, arc mine launcher, and shield generator to name a few. Despite his small arsenal, Toby is largely a positive and kind individual. He's friendly to everyone and will even apologize for killing other players, or for when he does have an occasional outburst. That said, nothing sets him off like being called cute. He hates it with a fiery passion and has been known to break into fits of cursing and or violence. Curses and violence also very much apply to the next member of the Rogues, Arendi the Veramorph. Veramorphs, hailing from the Etron system, are a backwater alien species. They're technologically inept on the level of pre-industrial society. Where they stand out is their unique physiology. They possess the ability to intentionally adapt at a genetic level. Through this, they're able to mimic technology, and it's reported almost no two Veramorphs are similar in shape or form. That said, the Eldred and LLC researchers did identify 3 shared traits between the Veramorphs: alternating dark and light-colored splotches on the skin, wiry dark hair, and an utter lack of respect for any form of order or authority. Arendi is clearly no exception to these 3, and with her 4-armed form and biological adaptation of M1 Sentry laser technology, she's one of the more dangerous Veramorphs. When the LLC and Eldred evacuation forces arrived, she was flagged as a possible threat due to her psychotic and criminal behavior. The LLC attempted to hold a trial for her, but she proceeded to kill both the guards and the Magnus AI judge. Escaping on board the stolen LLC ship Byzimondius, she fled for the Detritus Ring, where she met up with and joined with Raina. Arendi enjoys screaming psychotic threats and nonsense, but through her lore, it's shown she has a taste for writing poetry and a significant admiration for fellow rogue Toby. Far less cheerful and far more cynical is Whiskey Tango Foxtrot. WFO2-1221 was from a failed batch of UPR Rapid Deployment core clones. Despite this batch being marked for quote-unquote disposal, WFO2-1221 proved near impossible to kill, evading and surviving until UPR eventually gave up and assigned him to menial kitchen work. Naturally, Whiskey deserted his post, making him a wanted man or wanted clone by the UPR. His spite for all things UPR is plain, even extending to the hatred of the OM883 RDC clones, or the Oscar Mikes, despite their similar origins. That said, it appears he does have somewhat of a softer spot for OM83-1101, the Oscar Mike of the Battleborn, due to his slight outcast standing among the other Mikes. As such, we can see this in one of his lore entries where he records a message containing advice for the younger clone. That said, Whiskey himself isn't the brightest. Take his gun, for example. A shoddy Lorian modification, his gun is known to fall apart on occasion. Also, it's canon that he and the Generate Battleborn Deondi are an item. He mentions a date with her when asked by Wolf in the Void's Edge, and one of his lore entries has a note from, and I quote, fan of the Empire, which is a known alias and title associated with the Generate spy, where she says, "You, on the other hand, I would gladly bear you in a heartbeat. Shall we meet in our usual place?" However, while Deondi isn't a rogue, they have their own stealth characters, Pendels, and of course, Shayne and Aurox. Shayne's history is a bit of a mystery due to her intentionally closed-off and angsty personality. All we can really tell about her is that she's a skilled scrapper and thief, with an angsty and immature streak a mile wide. However, Gearbox concept artist Mandersmash, linked to their blog in the description, it's awesome, they're a great artist, has commented a great deal on Shayne and Aurox, which I'll also be using as reference here. Shayne is said to be, and I quote, very much still figuring stuff out in terms of gender. There are a lot of allusions to this in the game. The fact that she dresses in a masculine manner and binds her chest. Side note, if binding, remember not to use ace bandages, it's crazy bad for your ribs. And it seems as if Shayne deepens their voice in a concentrated effort to seem more gruff. Just a small aside, but it's refreshing to see some sort of representation in a modern AAA title. Aurox is a member of the Goyota species I mentioned near the very beginning of the video. Aggressive, volatile, and made of energy itself, they're known for encasing themselves in mineral matter and feeding on power. They also attack mining colonies for their power, draining every drop. An issue when life support or other such life-saving systems are very much needed. As such, the LLC sought to exterminate the Goyota from Braxton 3. It was briefly after this that Raina found and rescued Shayne, only to later discover her bond to Aurox. Quote, Aurox was the alpha beast of a pack of demonic space beasts that inhabit the Detritus Ring, end quote, according to Mander. Shayne was able to rip out his phase beacon, the Goyota equivalent of a heart, through unknown means, though the result is quite plain. It's responsible for the severe scarring visible on Shayne's face and chest, and is how she's able to control a, and I quote, demonic space beast. She fashioned it into the center of the belt she wears, and apparently has a piece of it embedded in a scrap metal ring with a button to detonate it if the beast turns against her. Shayne seems to find no end to the entertainment of controlling Oryx, making him do menial things like fetch or going along with her plans of being a quote-unquote teen detective. Oryx, on the other hand, fucking hates her, and remarks repeatedly on wanting to devour her soul or bathe in your blood. You know, friend stuff. Despite their somewhat fractured nature, the rogues are a powerful force in Solus. Rather than a unified force, they're notable for their collection of powerful individuals with mixed strengths. Stealth, range, melee, support, you name it. There's a lot here, but if you have any questions or comments on what I might have missed, feel free to let me know in the comments. I'll make sure to answer any questions I can, and those answers or comments on what I missed will go into the description as an addendum or appendix of sorts. Next time, we'll be looking at the United Peacekeeping Republics and their history of not winning. Thank you so much for watching, and I really hope you liked this or learned anything from it. A fuck ton of work goes into these lore videos, and dropping a like or subscribing would be a huge honor. Like, fucking seriously, it's a huge deal for me. If you want to support me or these videos directly, my Patreon should be in an annotation and in the description. Until next time, beautiful Battleborn.